Today we're here to talk about the 2019 M2D2 200K Challenge. Again, this is Jeff Champagne. I'm here with Marianne Picard, and we're looking forward to telling you today about the challenge. Having been interacting with M2D2 for the last 5 years as part of this challenge, I can say that it's grown tremendously year over year. I think it started back in 2012 at around a 15K or 12K challenge. And today we're up over 200K with several large sponsors, and proud to be a part of this activity. So right now I'm going to turn it over to Marianne so she can tell us a little bit about M2D2 and some of the details that are new this year to the challenge. And then we'll get into some question and answer later in the call about some of the frequently asked questions that you may have about this challenge. So thanks for joining us today, and hopefully we can share with you some interesting details as to how you can increase your chances of winning this award. Good afternoon, Marianne.
Hi, this is Marianne, Director of Operations for M2D2. Thanks again for joining us. And just to give you a little bit of background on M2D2, we are an incubator program that is a joint project between UMass Lowell and the UMass Medical School. And we incubate early stage medical device and biotech startup companies. No affiliation with UMass is required. And this is a good time to share a couple of updates this year that we're very excited about that were granted to us through a competitive process. The first is the Bar to Drive program, which you are able to apply to for a $750,000 non-dilutive capital available to startups. And they're specifically looking for novel technologies to help with health security threats. So solving sepsis, among other things. And there's lots more information we can share about that. The second is CapCat, also granted to us through a competitive process with the UMass Medical School. And this is specifically looking for novel technologies, point of care in the heart, blood, lung, and sleep disorder spaces. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Jeff, and we'll go from there.
Thanks, Marianne. So again, my name is Jeff Champagne, Director of Business Development for MPR Product Development. Like I said, we've been working with M2D2 on this competition for the last 5 years. Very proud to be a part of it. And I hope to share with you some best practices today that'll help increase your odds of getting into the finals and pitching to the judges. This is a pretty heavy field. We had about 100 participants last year. About 133 applied, and 100 were selected to go into the competition. And we're hoping to increase that number this year. So thanks for joining us today. It looks like we've got quite a bit of attendees on the line, and we're really excited to get this competition kicked off. So my background is in early and emerging disruptive technologies. I've acted as a mentor, coach, panelist, and also part of the award committee that helps to dole out the awards after the competition. We're really excited about the number of sponsors that we have this year, and we're going to talk about that now.
I'd like to give a huge shout out of thanks to our sponsors, the 2019 200K Challenge sponsors. Thank you goes out to Mass Life Sciences Center, to Johnson & Johnson Innovation. M2D2 is one of their J-Labs locations. Asahi Intech, Boston Scientific, Amgen, Hologic, MPR, and R&Q. And you'll hear more what the industry sponsors, they have included their specific areas of focus in the call for applications. And let's not forget our longest time sponsor is Mintz. So thank you so much, and stay tuned for more. To share with you some of the past winners, our Nerve Technology, DFTX, Mag Optics was a winner last year, Phytome, 149 Medical, Versatope, and Leuco Labs are some of our past winners, just to share a few of those with you.
Sure, and I think we might have said earlier, but this challenge began back in 2012 with a 15K award purse, a single corporate sponsor, 20 entries, and 2 winners. Today, 7 years later, our total purse is around 200K, provided by those 9 corporate sponsors that you just heard. In 2018, we had 113 entrants, 20 finalists, and 7 award winners, representing a very broad range of both life science technologies and business stages. And do you want to talk about the different types of companies that we had as part of that, Marianne?
Sure. We have a whole range of medical device, biotech startups, mainly in all different areas, point of care, bedside, all sorts of different devices.
Sure, and they also span from different levels of development, from early concept and early kind of stage startups to some that are very advanced that have a team and resources but these are mostly pre-revenue companies that are coming to compete in this challenge.
And we are awarding, as we said, 200K in-kind services. And what does that mean?
So typically in-kind services is going to be some type of award either from sponsors or service providers that offer some value to those companies as they compete and as they work their way through development. I'll give you an example, and on the list that Marianne just read through, our third place winner from last year, 149 Medical, Tony Fontana is the CEO of 149, and while he couldn't be part of the call today to share with you his experience, he did give me a quote that I could share. Tony was the winner for NPR's prize last year, and the reason why he found it valuable was because he got to get so much feedback from companies in industry. They were able to say, this is really what we're trying to accomplish, and it really does take a village. It takes a lot of different resources to bring a startup medical device company to being, and this is what Tony had to say. The 200K challenge was a great way to get ourselves in shape, present in front of large audiences. The in-kind service workshop was a fabulous prize. It allowed us to have a sense of the many working streams in medical device product development and to get all our, quote, stupid questions out of the way. In many ways, it did exactly what startups need most. It helped us reduce uncertainty. He said, yeah, you can quote me on that because he just couldn't be here. So those are his words. And happy to say that Tony's a friend. We've developed a relationship over the last couple of years as he's competed in these competitions and grown as a CEO. And it's amazing to see companies develop. That's one of my favorite parts of this whole experience is seeing young startup companies become mid development startup companies just by going through this process. The amount of resources and service providers and companies they're able to talk to along the way is really part of that transformation. And so we're happy to have you on this journey with us, and we hope that you can get as much out of it as Tony and his team. So with that, let's talk about how to apply.
So we feel like we make this process as simple as we can. And the only things you really need to get the initial application in are an executive summary, financial projections, and your elevator pitch of talking about your innovation in 50 words or less. So focus on the need, its importance, the business proposition, and clearly demonstrate that you are team-oriented and that you will take advantage of all this challenge has to offer. There is a lot of networking to be had, exposure to be had. You want to clearly demonstrate how you will take advantage of all these opportunities. So we feel like it's a pretty streamlined process, and you'll have the opportunity to ask some questions in a little bit.
Sure. I'd say one of the common themes in dealing with startups and determining the ones that succeed versus the ones that don't is really their coachability. We line up a lot of mentors and coaches along this process, and we want everyone to have the best chances to succeed. But I find that the ones that are coachable and malleable and adaptable are the ones that go the distance. So that's a big part, whether you're dealing with investors or a competition, being open to changing your perspective and pivoting or taking a new perspective on your own development can be very helpful as an entrepreneur. So a couple other tips for success, besides focusing on the needs, which is really important, you want to make sure you have a good target in mind and a clear set of objectives. But one of the most important things that I've found in helping to coach and judge these panels is that there's a solid demonstration of the technology. You want to be able to connect in 30 seconds with that audience and have them understand exactly what you're doing, and most importantly, why you're doing it. So really, as I think there's a TED Talk out there on starting with the why. That's really important. The judges want to know why you're doing what you're doing. Why would you drop everything else in your life so that you can focus on this sole goal? So that's really important. There's a great book out there called Life is a Series of Presentations by Tony Geary, recommended by Stephen Covey, and it's a great synopsis of presenting and how to put your best foot forward for this competition. So let's talk about some key dates that are coming up. Obviously, the kickoff is today. Applications opened on the 8th. And then, what else do we have to look forward to in terms of dates, Marianne?
Yes, you want to keep in mind that the application process right now is free. And then starting on January 18th will be $25 to apply. And then another really important date is January 30th. Not only will there be an information session in person about this competition, but there'll also be a great venture capital financing event that will promises to have a lot of good networking with many investors in the audience. And you can sign up for that. It's on January 30th. I don't see the website here, but the free code is M2D2 VIP. And the website to sign up is right on the slide that you're looking at.
Great. Thanks, Marianne. And so when is the actual competition? When do we see the beginning of that pitch session?
Okay, so the applications will close on February 18th. And then on March 6th, we will announce the finalists. And then on March 27th is a large showcase finalist pitch competition, and that takes place here at UMass Lowell. And the time period between when the finalists are announced and that large showcase pitch-off event, there is a lot of opportunity for interaction, mainly coaching to perfect your slide deck, be able to meet with investors, meet with other subject matter experts to make sure that you're ready to go on March 27th to put your best pitch forward, your best foot forward, and there'll be up to 18 finalists will be announced that will pitch off on that day on March 27th. It's an evening event. All the finalists are invited to a VIP pre-event where you get to interact specifically with the competition sponsors. And then it opens to a larger audience. Last year we had 320 people were in the audience, and about a third of those were investors from both the Angel and BC Boston communities. And then on April 10th, the winners are announced. Again, all the finalists come to the award ceremony prepared to give their pitch. The winners are announced, and again, it's another large crowd, and that is hosted by our friends at Mintz, right in Boston, right near South Station. A great public event. We'll announce the winners and have poster and networking sessions then as well.
Great. Thanks, Marianne. And so those coaching sessions are really important. That's where you're going to get feedback directly from those sponsors and service providers that are part of the competition and have been doing this for a few years now. I think it's really important, as you mentioned, focusing on the need. Some of our sponsors, like in the past, Boston Scientific, for example, have done a really great job of defining what their needs are and what they're looking for from this community of startups. For example, Boston Scientific specified last year that they were looking for treatments that could be administered through an endoscope, right? So they wanted to turn that endoscope into an avenue for treatment, and they listed out the criteria for that for what a winning company would look like. And I think that's really important. If you focus on a specific sponsor's needs or a number of sponsors' different needs, you're going to have a much more likely probability to advance into those finals. So really think about what those sponsors are looking for as they interact with this community, and if you can meet those criteria, then you're golden. So don't forget to submit any questions that you've got along the way, and we'll start to answer those now. So for more information about this challenge, you can visit us on our website at m2d2challenge.com. You can also find updates and dates as things progress on social media on our Facebook page, on Twitter, and also on LinkedIn at UMass M2D2. So we also have some exciting news that was recently brought to your attention. I think, Marianne, you just got back from a trip from India, right?
Yes, we just established a relationship with an incubator program that's part of IIT Madras in Chennai, India, and pleased to report that we will have a special program for startups based in India, not necessarily IIT Madras or not necessarily in Chennai, but based in India. And if they make it through the competition to the finals, there is an opportunity for their travel and housing to be paid so that they can participate live on March 27th, and then also to participate in the award ceremony on April 10th. We're very excited. We're very excited about that.
Very cool. Awesome. So now we're gonna start working through some questions.
First question is, where can we find the sponsors criteria you mentioned?
It is under the rules section on the website at m2d2challenge.com.
Okay.
/rules.
Yep.
And this sounds related. Is there a published list of the various sponsors' needs?
Yes, there absolutely is. So under those rules, you'll see the specific sponsor, and then you'll see a list of the criteria that they're looking to satisfy as part of their activities and sponsorship.
Yes.
One more. Are past winners' presentation decks available?
We do have a couple by virtue of permission from those. We do have a couple that we are able to share. They are not all available, but there are selected a couple selected ones.
Sure.
And we're able to share both the slide deck and the poster.
Yep. Great question.
And how might interested people obtain those?
The best way would be to email me directly, and it's Maryann, MARYANN _Picard, PICARD @uml.edu. Alternatively, you could also email M2D2 @uml.edu. Might be easier.
Right.
This I think we may have covered, but I will ask it. Have the sponsors listed their needs? And I believe that was an earlier
Yes,
sure.
they have.
Yep. So those are all pretty explicit. Yep.
If anyone has any trouble finding those, again, feel free to email. But
Sure.
They are on the website.
Yep. Excellent. And so a couple other questions here. Are travel expenses paid? No, applicants and startup companies are responsible for their own travel costs related to attending the pitch events and mandatory in-person events where applicable. But as Maryann mentioned, that we did have an anonymous sponsor that was going to sponsor up to 3 finalists from India to come over and spend time here between the pitch and the finalists and the winners announcement. So that's quite a new addition this year and exciting to see. Here's another question.
What is the value of the award for the first place winner?
That's a good question. So each one of the sponsors administers their own awards. So typically for MPR, I'll give you an example. Last year we had an award for 12K and an award for 3K. And so our first place got the 12K award and our second place got the 3K award. But it depends on the sponsors, and they each bring something to the table that they will give out. So one company might win an award from each of the sponsors, honestly. But it depends on how it all adds up.
And their alignment with the sponsor interest.
That's right.
Another one. Are applicant companies required to be based in Massachusetts?
That is not a requirement. This is an international competition.
Yep.
And we accept applicants from literally all over the world.
Sure. So last year, I think I read through 100 different ones from probably dozens of different countries, which is nice to see. So,
one more. What kinds of businesses qualify?
So typically these are early stage med tech, med device, and biotech companies. So they're delivering novel treatments for patients, and I'd also say that they have to deliver on some really valuable value proposition for the industry, right? And think about who your key targets are, whether it's the physicians that are benefiting from it, or the caregivers, or the patients, or the hospitals, or the payers. What is your business model, and how does it add value to this industry? Cool. A few other questions that we have here. What will the coaching process be like? All of the finalists are offered coaching appointments to meet with the subject matter and pitch experts to help refine their presentations and be ready for the pitch off on March 27th. That's between the 13th and the 26th of March. And coaching is organized by Mintz and is usually held at their offices in Boston. So the individual sponsors will go down there when companies align with their interests and then participate in those coaching sessions.
We do have another question. We just raised a Series E. Can we still apply? And the answer is absolutely yes. We encourage applications from companies at all stages of fundraising, from very early on, friends and family, to seed and beyond. Preference is given to companies with transformative potential and those who will benefit the most from working with M2D2 and the challenge sponsors.
So here's another one. If I'm selected as a finalist, do I have to attend the pitch event on March 27th in person? I'd say absolutely yes. you'll gain the most value from being there in person, and the exposure to that pitching and networking session is really the value of the challenge to sponsors and investors. So they want to meet with you, in person. They want to hear from your own words, what you're doing and why you're doing it. And being there is absolutely critical for participating.
And yet another question that we have is, can I get more information in person? And yes, you can. And as I had mentioned earlier, and happy to share it again, is on January 30th, we are hosting a networking event that will cover all the information about the 200K challenge, in addition to a financing event that will feature both angel and venture capital financing. Our events on the website is where you can find the information to sign up. And the free code we welcome you to use is M2D2 VIP.
Yep. And then last question here is, what does an applicant have to give up any equity? No equity is taken. This is strictly informational and sharing. But I would say that one of the most important things is that you make sure that you have at least a provisional patent filed before you present anything publicly. You can talk to your patent attorneys about that. But before you make any disclosures publicly, you want to make sure that at least a provisional patent is filed for disclosure. So what else do we need to cover today? Any other questions, Andy?
I don't think so. Did we mention the first 10 entrants are
free?
Are free.
Yes.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very cool.
Yes.
$125 until.
Yes, $25 fee until January 18th, and then the regular fee of $50 applies until the deadline. And the deadline is midnight on February 19th.
So January 18th. There's 3 days before the cost goes up. So
Yes, exactly.
get your entries in. Any other questions on the website?
No, thank you to everybody for your awesome questions.
Well, thanks for joining us today. I hope this has been helpful in understanding the 200K challenge. If you do have any other questions, please feel free to reach out via the website at m2d2challenge.com or at marianne_picard@uml.edu, or feel free to email me directly at jchampagne@mpr.com. Thanks for participating in this webinar. We hope that it's been helpful, and we look forward to seeing you at the competition.